Whoa, a little extra festive there.
Yeah, we got some more. Yeah. Anyway, Santa counted us down into the show tonight, flying across the sky. So the Christmas version of Mayor's Update is here tonight.
He's getting ready for all the things.
Yes. And sorry, I went a little festive tonight too, and the Christmas tree's up in the background, and Graydon has his beautiful tree up in the background too. So yeah, he wishes he had the two like mine, but he doesn't.
I know. Who wouldn't want that kind of a toque? It's so lit. Absolutely fantastic.
And I'm drinking my peppermint mocha coffee tonight. So it's like a candy cane in here right now.
Oh, it's very good. And I've got some water in my lovely St. Mary's mug, which I got when I was off on a trip there with my family because my dad's from St. Mary's. So. I got to almost attend, which a Facebook trip. Day tripping, right? Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, it's so cool. But yeah, I'm feeling so in the Christmas spirit. Aside from the snow, I wish there was more snow around here.
Well, and I will tell you, I may not be with as much time as I spent away from home in my jobs. I wasn't that much at decorating. Stephanie's turned me back into the hanger of lights and the erector of trees and all the other Christmas stuff that's going on. So we are at the cottage at the moment. So it is snowing here, and we have 3 different Christmas dinners up here to try and keep certainly just smaller groups. But most of my brothers and sisters live near here too. So there's a Christmas dinner with just them, and we really don't see them unless we're all here. And 2 other with Stephanie's kids, and then also with my children and grandchildren late next week. So we've got a whole festive week up here of trying to relax and see what we can do.
I love it. You have like the Preston compound up there.
Yeah, it's like the compound. Yeah. Don't anybody think that the cottage is a cottage. It is a house. It has 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and it has a paved laneway. So we don't rough it much when we're here. So.
I've never been a big fan of roughing it, to be honest. Even when camping, like I like the comforts of life.
Yeah, roughing it is a hotel without a restaurant. That's about as rough as I get. So that's camping for me.
Yeah.
I used to camp when I was younger.
I love camping.
Right, but I always felt so dirty all the time. I'm laying on the ground, right?
Yeah. What I don't like is suffering. So as long as I can be camping without suffering, then that's great.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, you always wake up in the middle of the night, cold, freezing. How come I was warm when I went to bed, but then the dew hits you in the tent, and it's never been anyway. But Christmas is more fun, and I had the fireplace on, and. We can just relax. I needed to just kind of take some of the stress away, and this is a great way to do it. So,
absolutely. And speaking of festivities, we've got the GSTA Gets Lit project, which is the mapping of the different houses that are lit up for Christmas.
Yes, and even with that great project, as well done as it's been done, every second question on the St. Thomas Facebook pages is, hey, where can I go look at houses? So,
we've got it. If you want to look at houses, go onto the Google map. It's on Established Media. MyFM just shared it today, which is fantastic. It's been on St. Thomas Happenings. If you don't see a house on there and you think that house should be on there, take a picture and you can upload it because it's completely user-friendly.
Put it on there. If you're that proud of your own house, please take a picture and put it on there. Put the address up and let people drive by your house too. This is a real adventure. People love doing it, and it's something the family can do in the car, so very safe to go do it too. And you've done a great job of putting the website together. So I just laugh now when I see somebody else ask, where are some good houses to go look at? No, I don't know. You're asking on Facebook where it's been posted 43 times. I don't know.
And we've got some prizes too. So I'm going to donate a jumbo painting. Jolie from Tastemaker Studio, she's donating a gift basket from her store, which it has fantastic food, sauces, treats, and it's up right beside her sister's place, a Handmade Tale. And then you were going to donate some meals.
I offered some Wendy's gift certificates, but you're now going to have to wait till January 2nd or 3rd to get them from me. But
I think that totally works.
We'll be okay. All right. Okay, so we've got a couple of good-sized Wendy's gift certificates for those who spent the time on a ladder.
You have the energy to be able to take the lights down after you're done.
That's true. We should be awarding the prizes to those who get their lights down in an order without a swear word. That's
Totally. And like, my question is, do you have the pretzel bun burgers? Are they still? How long are those going for? Are they still going? I've had a bunch of them.
Today. You may be in the last day today, but at least soon, right? Yeah. They are very popular. The pretzel bacon pub burger was the most popular thing in the last month. But so coming up is another fan favorite, bacon mushroom melt. So there'll be portobello bacon mushroom melt, which is always favorite. So
yeah,
it's been a busy time around Christmas, right? So we've got 3 more days till we're closed for the day on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. And then the week between Christmas and New Year's is always a pretty special week too. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
A message here from Kyle Reichstein from 519 Roofing. He said, "Good news, say no snow." And as a roofer, of course, I
understand why Kyle would like to say that. He can still do roofing projects if it's not like an ice rink on your roof. And the great work that 519 Roofing does is a little harder to do on a snowy roof. So we get it. You can understand that he's up there preparing the runway for Santa's sleigh.
Yeah.
Good work.
Good way to put it. So what is the city doing over the holidays? What's happening there?
It is kind of a calming down. The city hall is closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and then I think the Monday following, because of course the Christmas and Boxing Day both fall on the weekend this year. So there's a lot less going on. There's always, of course, a fully equipped and ready to go snowplow team and sidewalk plow team, and should we get Christmas-like weather over Christmas or New Year's, they're on call and ready to go. And as you know, there's a lot of people who work for the city that don't necessarily get the day off. Our police officers, our firefighters, the ambulance teams, the EMS teams, and of course our snowplow and city maintenance people. So we wish them a Merry Christmas. We thank them for the hard work that everybody's done this year, but especially around a time like this when most families are settling down to a big Christmas dinner. Some other people are heading off to work to keep the city running. So way to go.
Absolutely. Big shout out to those folks because they keep everything going. They keep the pipes going, so we have water too.
It comes out of the tap when you need it, and the road's cleared if you have to go somewhere. So we'll make sure all of that happens.
Yeah, we haven't had too much snow yet, so we haven't had too many complaints about the snow plowing yet in St. Thomas.
Well, it's been a great December because I've shared with you it's like 33 seconds after snow starts falling before the first call to the mayor comes in about how the street isn't done yet. And I'm being a bit facetious, I understand it, but you can't just instantly do all of 40 whatever number of kilometers of streets there are in our community at the minute the snow stops. So I'm very proud with what we did last year during a couple of pretty big snow events. And this year so far, only one or so, but and we're mostly through December. That does also help us with our snowplow budget, which always tends to equal out. If it doesn't equal out in 1 year, it equals out in the 2 or 3 years. You might have one with not much work, and another one where people barely get to go home, or we have to send drivers home because they've been out so long. Right? So far this year, great. I'll take it.
And how's the Snow Angels program doing?
It really comes up when snow comes, right?
Yeah.
After having a fairly good size early snowfall this year, we signed a number of more people who wanted to be snow angels and some high school students and some other things. We can always use more. There will still be snow angels out there who have, out of the goodness of their heart, 3 or 4 other houses they go and clear snow at. And we'd love to take them all down to 1 or 2 if we could. So if you still want to, call Heather Welsh in my office and sign up. And she will assign you a place right on the phone right then and there, because she's got a large book of who still needs a snow angel. And she doesn't have quite as large a book of who wants to be a snow angel. So It's your chance to be an angel. Ring a bell and, the angel gets their wings.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite movies.
So good. All right. And then in terms of city business, what's been happening over the past week?
Well, we had a great council meeting on Monday night. And I've got quite a few things to share. So if you don't mind, I'll go and ask questions of me in the middle if you need to. But one of the first things was the Elma Estates apartment buildings. The first one is just about complete. And there was a request to give it a condominium designation. Now, that doesn't mean what most people think it means. We did this last week for the Sunset Towers, which is an apartment building on Sunset, and it asked to become designated as a condo. What that in these cases mean is a group condo. The owner owns all the condos in the building and rents them out. And that still be the case with the Alma College too. It's something to do with how property taxes work differently, but we're so we of course said yes. We knew right from the beginning that Elma Estates was going to be asked to become a condo when the building is complete. There's a certain place where it has to be asked. Mm-hmm. The community improvement program request for 571 Talbot, that somebody's Harrison Cole is fixing up the front end of what I think used to be one of the sports stores. It
was like Submariner, and now I believe is Lockwood Books.
Okay, he did that one, but there's another one too.
There's another one.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how when you offer a little bit to help make heritage buildings look good, people take advantage of it. And he's taken it. Boy, that front end of Lockwood Books is gorgeous. So if the building at 571 Talbot turns out just as well, go for it. Love it. Please keep using our community improvement fund to do the right things. The community improvement fund is for that use, for helping people with front facade and heritage properties, but also for if you're creating apartments, there's $5,000 per apartment created. So it's also helping with housing also. The 8th report of the site plan committee came back, and a couple of things we're talking about, and this one really interests me as we do the new official plan for St. Thomas. Now, the official plan is a very large and complicated document about what you can build where, and what the zoning is for certain areas of town. But we're now wanting to add a urban design policy to the whole of the plan, so that if you're building a building in an area, it needs to look somewhat like the area you're in, or it has to add and have the same flavor. And I just love the fact that we're going to put this into the official plan to make things fit. I mean, I think we've all seen how, I'm not certain how you could make a grocery store fit better, right? But like in the case of, I think it was what was just built downtown. And it's up, Food Basics, and it's out by the road because all the buildings downtown mirror the sidewalk line. So that's like an urban design piece. It doesn't look like the city hall in any way in a historic sense, but it's made to fit from an urban design point. And there's lots of things like that. And then we had a progress report on our strategic plan. We launched the strategic plan, some halfway through this year, and it is good till it has some action in it that is good till the end of 23. But one of the neat thing is we've accomplished about 65% of the official plan in the first year. Now, if you take the math, we should complete 33% in the first year. So we're quite a ways ahead. But most of what was in the official plan that I'm so proud of is the housing that we've been able to do with Indwell and ourselves and private developers. So pretty pleased to see the official plan. And I'll talk about some other stuff from the official plan further down. Another piece of business was you've seen the scaffolding around City Hall. We're replacing the slate roof, the historic slate roof on top of City Hall. And as they opened up the slate on the front piece, the piece above the mayor's office, but in that piece, found some more work that needed to be done. So we thought, while we've got the slate off the roof and the scaffolding up, let's also do it. So there was an additional request for some additional dollars for the additional work. So we said yes to that at council on Monday night. What else have we got? The report came back. The initial report, this is another strategic plan item on the aquatic and community center that we've formed a committee to go look at. What would it cost? What would it be? Who would want what? How would it look? And where might it be located? The strategic plan, action plan was for the committee to come back with approximate cost for the project, a couple of locations as to where it might go. And then the third piece was they went out and looked at the Bostwick Center, 2 or 3 centers in London and surrounding area to say, what might it look like? What could we do? I like to keep reminding, and we talked about this Monday night at council, this is not a promise that this will happen. What happened a year and a half ago is the federal government came out with some funding for recreational projects. And everybody said, well, why don't we build a pool? Well, we didn't have it ready. We did not have a plan or thoughts or the money set aside, even if the federal government was giving us some of it. So we said to ourselves, let's make sure in our strategic plan this time, we get ready. We'll have a project ready in a box, ready to go, and have an idea of what it will cost us. So if one of the other levels of government, or hopefully both, come out with funding for infrastructure for recreational projects, we can say Thomas is ready, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do it here. And then we'll get either approved or not approved. So that's where we are in this project. We're ready to be able to ask format. But there's still a lot of public meetings, a lot of other talk to be. What does it look like? Is it, 3 volleyball courts, 1 basketball court, 1 pool? What is it, right? And so we had a lot of input in that first survey. There'll be another more strategic survey coming out, and the initial plan will be, or the biggest question will be, if it's $40 million, can we afford it? If it's $35 million, maybe. If it's $50 million, what would we do? How will we do it? How much debt could we take on? Just so you know, we just finished the budget this year, and it will be accepted in January. About $565,000 is 1 point of taxes. So if $565,000 raises the taxes on the average home in St. Thomas by 1 point, you can think what a $50 million project would do. And so that's why we're trying to take our time and be ready so that when another level of government has money for us to use, we're ready to say yes to take that tax bill away from the taxpayers of St. Thomas and give it to the federal government. We know there's only one taxpayer, but it comes to us in a lot less of a piece when it's the federal or provincial government helping us with a project here, as each have done a lot of this year on housing. If they give us money, we can get ahead of the game on housing, and if not, we're waiting for us to accumulate the money to do it. Really neat when we get petitions and communications each year or each week at council when there's a council. And one of the great ones this week was something that the chief and I and a number of others have been saying a lot about. This is from the mayor of Penetanguishene to the Attorney General Doug Downey saying, can we start looking at the repeat problem of minor crime in our community and not have this kind of catch and release problem, right?
This is fantastic.
Well, we've been saying it for a year and a half. We're glad to see other municipalities catching up, right? So, and I'm also at Roma virtually at the end of January, and one of my other conversations is again, look at, as the police chief says, we can't arrest ourselves out of addiction problems or mental health problems, but we need the court support for those that prove they want to do crime over and over and over and over and over again, that we're not just catching them and releasing them to make it easy to happen. Thank you, Penetanguishene, for joining us in the fight. A couple other minor things. Liquor license for Plaza Sushi has to come to council so that we can say yes to it. So that was good. Right? Love my sushi, so yes.
Oh, Plaza Sushi is so delicious. Yeah. I can't get enough. If I could eat it every day, I would.
Right. And then, well, I do love sushi, but I'm not sure about every day. But anyway, the public notice we also had at council on Monday night was that our operating budget and our capital budget, both of the large budgets from our city, have been passed and will be adopted by council at the meeting on January 10th. Our first meeting of the new year. So we're done. We're already out there putting some of the things to bed from a RFP point of view on what some of those big projects would be, and way to go. So done early again this year, and I see London, I think, announced their number this week too. Not quite as low as St. Thomas, so no offense, London. Try and pick it up. But that's very early for them. So we're seeing a lot of other communities catch the idea. The sooner they can pass their budget, the sooner they can put things out to be done, like major construction or road or sewer projects.
Absolutely.
So that was council on Monday night. Fairly full council meeting for the last one of the year.
That's a lot of stuff to unpack there. That's fantastic.
Well, any questions? Please share with us.
We got lots of viewers, but not a lot of questions. I think
we must be saying it right then. We're getting it done.
Yeah, I love the plan with the aquatic center, like getting that all set up. That kills me. It's so good.
It's likely 4 or 5 years from now, right?
Yeah.
We could be surprised and do it earlier. But it's likely but it's so much better to have it ready. Right? Hello, Amanda. Merry Christmas to you and family too. Thanks for coming watching tonight. It's I get the chance to wear this hat once a year, and so this is it. Normally parades, and I did wear it the parade in the park, but
I love the fact that we're chatting and you've got a light up hat, and like when I was talking to Paul from the Chamber of Commerce about the Impact Awards nominees, he had a light up sweater. There are all these light up wearable things now.
I'm not sure you can see my shirt, but it's kind
you have to tilt down a little bit.
Yeah, Christmas tuxedo. Just a second, I'm pointing down.
There we go.
Yeah, and I knew we'd be doing Mayor's Update today, so I brought this with me up to the cottage so I could do it here with all my Christmas attire. I will likely wear it 1 or 2 more times with grandkids and other stuff here over Christmas.
So good. But we haven't talked about the Impact Awards, but that's coming up in February.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. It's a recognition of businesses in our community, and as well as what's that?
I've been really pleased with reading the names as they've been somewhat slowly released, but released all at once. Of the names that are being, it's always a bit of a competition. 3 names are released for a category, and 1 person wins it. But in 2 or 3 of the categories I've seen already, it could be any of them. It should be all of them. And so I know that having been on the committee for that in past years, is somebody remember that one for last year, because we weren't able to give it to both. And so here's somebody who's better, right? Or as good. So I'm happy to see them really pointing out some people who contribute to our community in a huge way.
Well, I was lucky enough to be, because I was a past winner last year, I was a part of the committee this year, and it's so cool to be a part of the recognition of all the different people in our community.
Yes,
for the work they do, all the different businesses,
and how many there are. I mean, it's not hard. It's not like, oh, here's 2 and they stand out. It's here's 45. Now let's pick 3 or 4 of them or 5 of them, whatever categories there are. It's significant in our community how many people contribute to our community.
And when you're doing it, you just you want everybody to win, because you're these are all amazing businesses, amazing people.
And most of them are friends, and most of them very well, because they're always out in front of most things promoting St. Thomas or Elgin, and they just are. And so, yeah, I know him. Oh, they're great. Oh, they did. And I was sitting there saying, oh, what about these people? And then, well, they won last year. Oh, okay. I guess we can't keep doing it each and every year. So, Graydon, you're probably not getting anything this year?
I'm not getting anything this year.
Okay. But that doesn't mean you were any less contributing to our community this year, as were the winners from the past number of years.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's such an honor. Even when I was nominated last year, I was like, this is just, it's an incredible honor to be nominated and be next to these other business people.
Yeah. Well, we talked a bit last week about some of even the work that was being done last week because of COVID and shelter, and using an isolation center at the Wellington Street School, because we had a building. It certainly isn't residential, but we're able, through the great work of all of the community, all of the different community groups, put that together. Well, that's the spirit of community. We are a better place because we're a community, not a city.
Yeah,
I mean, we are a city, but we think of ourselves as who else could help, or how many people just picked up the phone and say, Joe, how can I help? And sure, we'll try and find something for you to do. But you remember, all along, we've got lots of work to do. And within the next week, we move to the new shelter at 10 Princess. And in a time of Christmas, the turmoil of COVID, how hard it is to be running a shelter to begin with, or the people who are having to live in a shelter. And that this year we've made some progress into permanent housing with the transit building, and that it is just such a huge community effort. And I will share, sometimes we have to kind of look at each other and say, well, that's got to be next, because it can't be right now. And then somebody comes along and says, well, how can I help and what can I do? And it fills the gap, and we really can do it quicker than we thought we could. So, and I at council on Monday night, I really thanked our council. This has been as most cooperative of council as I've seen in St. Thomas, and in a lot of other cities too. But in my, people accuse me of watching politics like a sport, because I do, right?
Yeah.
But in the past, watching the council in the city of St. Thomas sometimes was a bit of blood sport, right? But this council's been getting along really well and focusing in the same direction for all of us to move forward on the best things. In our case, housing, because we said it's our responsibility. We'll take that responsibility. There's a bunch of other issues that truly aren't ours, and we'll still help with them. But it's fun to watch. And I have advice for other communities and other mayors around me, because we're good friends too. But so it is a bit of a sport, but it's also it works way better when it's a friendly sport or a friendship. And it really is around us right now in pretty good shape. So.
Absolutely. And that makes it a more efficient process, less costly for everybody.
Yeah.
Including the taxpayers in terms of time and money.
Right.
That get spent on all the things. Well,
you have to find the sweet spot of how much can you spend? How much can right now, 44,000 people in the city of St. Thomas, we estimate, how much can they afford to spend at a time when inflation is also starting to attack their wallets a little bit? And COVID is playing a couple years, but there's things we have to do. We can't not do. So we find that sweet spot in the tax rate that that's what we can do. Now, the great thing in St. Thomas is we're a growing community. And year after year, that means there's a little bit more than next year that we can put into those same coffers and do a little bit more. So you see housing projects like the Queen Street project with Indwell, and then the Center Street and Ross building that would be next. Just get planned and start moving. And if we can keep that, if city councils and future city councils continue to do that type of work where we don't go decades without getting something done. We each year contribute a little bit. We will slowly get to the affordability and the supply thing. And I know you and I have talked about this too. The supply and affordability of housing is as much a private sector entity as it is a city entity. We can do the supportive housing with indwell and those types of things, but the really big real estate projects are like the apartment buildings going up at Alma College, the apartment buildings that Doug Terry has done, and even from the affordability point of view, the Tiny Hope project that Doug Terry and the YWCA and Sanctuary Homes is doing on Kane Street. The city cannot do all of it. We'll contribute to almost all of these projects in one way or the other, but we really do need the lead. You and I have talked. We went a full decade or more of not building any multi-unit rental apartments in our community.
Right.
Let's just not do that again. Let's build a little bit every year and keep trying to stay caught up. So that's and last year, we can look back and smile a little bit. It's some of it was the mayor and council knocking on some developers' doors and saying, "Hey, St. Thomas is right here. You could come help." And we're now getting much more approach from them as to what can St. Thomas do.
Well, absolutely. And I'm excited to see what happens in the old rail yards with the Doug Terry project that's going in there in terms of multi-use and multi-level dwellings. Like, that's going to take up a lot of space right in the core downtown and bring people where they need to be and close to all the different facilities, which is, in my mind, fantastic. It's going to make a more vibrant downtown.
Well, we also need to, as I cautioned a little bit with the pool and community center project, don't hold your breath. It's not tomorrow. It's getting ready to happen. A lot of these housing projects take a couple of years to plan and then start building, and a couple of years to then build. But which is why we have to have one or two each year, so that over the course of 4 years, 4 projects happen, or 5 projects happen, or 6 projects happen. We're not sitting there going, well, we did nothing for a long time. Now, how are we going to catch up? Because you just don't throw up a 170-unit apartment building overnight.
No, you don't. That doesn't happen.
I wish. In my dreams, it happens all the time, because we get out of the housing deep hole that we're in, and we won't add affordability until we have supply. So we need. I recognize some of the buildings that are being built are not cheap to rent, but they are being rented, which means we're creating space and filling a demand for rental income that over the years, as supply gets better, the prices should stabilize or drop. That's the intent. We know that's how it's supposed to work. Nice comment from Mr. Fernot tonight too.
Totally. Hi, Robert. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We should have him on too, and almost everybody we say we should have him on. But there's a guy that knows a lot about our community and contributes a lot in our community, and so love to have a great conversation. Not so much about what he does for a living, but how he contributes to our community also. So,
well, he just did a birthday fundraiser for Elgin Hospice, which is another great thing that's coming to our community.
Yes, and how far down the list do we go, right, of where there's more great things happening? But thank you, Robert, for doing that fundraiser too, and we saw you got there pretty quickly, so way to go.
Sure did. And Amanda Stark says politics is a sport, which goes back to something we were talking about a little bit earlier, and 100%.
Well, and Amanda ran in the last federal election too, I think. Federal election, yes. And so she's now had on the field experience of what this is like and what it means and how much of your heart you have to give to get there too. So Amanda, thank you. Always one of my favorite lines is, well, tell me that same story after you've put signs on the lawn. And so you have. So way to go. It is
absolutely, and did it and doesn't play dirty politics. She's a really nice person.
Yeah.
And she's there for the community. And if you're going to be a politician, that's what you need to be.
Well, I've often said the same thing. If I have to call somebody and ask for to beat them or to get the job, I don't want the job.
Right.
right? I have my views and my opinions, and they may be different than your views and opinions, but it doesn't make them bad or good. It just makes them mine. And so we try to move forward to accomplish the same things. I don't think there'd be anybody in our community last election that wouldn't have said we need more housing. Yeah, we all did. Great. But here's how I think we should do it. We needed to fix transit. Yes, there's 100 ideas of how the wheels on the bus go, but here's what we'll do. Let's try and improve, and then from there, try and improve again. So it's been a lot of fun. We're near the end of 2021, and who knew we would get there after 2 years of dealing with COVID and a number of other things. We would get there on the promises we made going into this council term. Let's get transit on Sundays and in the evenings. Let's get more municipal housing, city housing built. Let's get more developers here building housing. So it is about working together. Thank you, Margaret McKnight. You're right. It is not telling somebody else it's not possible. Or my favorite, I can tell you what's wrong with that project. Yeah, great. How about telling me that you agree with it and let's work together on making it happen? So, and I'm not suggesting. I think I shared. The slogan was, "Yes is the answer." Now, what's the question? Does that mean we got everything done that we were asked to do? I think so. But did we say yes to everything? Yes. We started off with a yes. And then if we could prove it was going to be too costly, like maybe our community center or pool, or maybe not, then yes was the answer to start with. But let's try and see what we can do and put in a box and be ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like your messaging system is blowing up there, Mayor Joe.
I have a problem with my mouse, and it keeps connecting and unconnecting. So, yeah.
Okay. I thought it was going to be like something's happening, just like you're getting all the calls like Batman, except instead of like the bat signal,
I just have to look up in the sky and see the appropriate bat signal. And
it'd be like a train, a train lit up in the sky.
Yeah, but in the shape of the bat signal. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And then you follow that train to whatever the thing is.
Yes.
You're like Super Mayor.
Let's not get there. I have my shirt on tonight, though. Yeah.
Well, I remember, what was it, 3 years ago when we did the Christmas update? We did a whole snap, and then you went from City Hall to right into Wendy's.
Yeah.
It's part of the Christmas meal.
We appeared other places.
It was
yeah. Hey,
magical film.
Okay, this is really bothering me now. I've got to quit touching the mouse. There, I unplugged it. We'll be a lot better now.
All right. There's one other project I want to talk about, which is Project Santa, which is run by Counting on Change with Sarah Coleman. And if you don't know Sarah Coleman, you should, because she is a powerhouse. She also works at the food bank, and she has this project which gives people gifts over Christmas, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't heard of Project Santa, you should check it out. I just want to give a shout out to her because it's absolutely amazing what she and her anonymous donors are doing in the community. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a post tomorrow. But I just want to prime the pump. If you're not aware of it, super cool project.
And we did talk last week about another great project that goes in our community with the Smiles for Seniors. And yes. I saw a room full of stuff on one of their posts today or yesterday, because I think it was delivery day yesterday, or the day before. And not a whole lot of, hey, look what we did, but a whole lot of smiles for people in our community. And I thank them all. And of course, this time of year, Christmas Care was pick up this week, and the food bank has just been as scrambly and as fast as they can making up for it. And please, folks, don't forget, just because Christmas ends, January and February are just as hard to get through for a lot of people. So don't stop helping those in town that help a lot of people. Just because Christmas is over, I know we all, we're used to putting money in the kettle and doing all the stuff at Christmas, but let's make our community a year-round giving community. And as you just shared, there's another example of people who make our community better and give year-round.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's not about them, it's about giving back. And that's a fantastic part of our community. There's so many things like that going on. You have to ferret out what's happening where, so you can let people know, because people are they're so humble about it.
Well, and I agree. And I think that we also better grade and talk about the fantastic business community, because a lot of this is done and created and donated by our businesses, and without fanfare and mostly anonymously. And a lot of things happen in this community because we have a strong business community also. And so whether it's businesses or everybody from home, or our community groups or our churches, let's all say thank you to everyone, because I cannot point them all out. As Robert Fresno says, everyone deserves a hand up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? These aren't handouts. These are, let's make our community better or make our community equitable. We'll do the best we can for everyone. And that's all we can ask.
Absolutely. And speaking of people who might need a little bit extra, have you had any more updates on the shelter, the inn, and whether it's opening in the near future?
As I said, it still should open before the end of the year. But as I said, there's been a pile of extra carrying because of the COVID crisis that the shelters ran into. So I would still say by the first of the year, or between Christmas and New Year's, it will open to a larger capacity than we had at the church at Central United. And again, thank you for them. They've carried this for a decade, the shelter in their facilities. And now with the help of the province, we now have a bigger building, a better set up building for the shelter at 10 Princess. So done yet? Nope, but lowering the numbers. We have capacity to put everyone who is homeless in our community in a bed on any given night. And if we didn't, we'd have room the next night. But that's our case. We have it, so let's do it, right? And these are positive things, but are there still some people on the streets? Yes, right? And we're trying to put together people who will help us bring those people in. It's getting cold out, folks. It's winter, and your heart kind of gives a little when we see someone who's still homeless or who has put themselves into a homeless situation, when there's a place for them to sleep in a warm place tonight with a warm meal beforehand and a warm meal in the morning. We need to continue one-on-one with the number of homeless people in our community that are not coming in, that have not done it. Look, we know there's lots of answers, and we know there's lots of blame. We can all, but well, how about we just, instead of fixing blame, we fix it, and we get out and do as much. And that's what the MOST team and the mental health team on the street team do. They is to try and convince people who are homeless on the street to not be on the street. That we have the next level of housing ready for you, and from that level of housing, we can get you supportive housing. From that level, we can offer mental health and addiction support also. So, look, nobody's given up. Let's move forward. Let's make it so that we can convert the new shelter that's about to open into true affordable housing, because we don't need it as a shelter anymore. We've put everybody who's there into supportive housing or into another level of support housing. Let's just do it. We know that is visible on the horizon. It is possible. We just have to find a way to also deal with mental health problems, addiction problems, and some crisis in mental health also. So,
I think that's exactly it. It's supporting the teams like the MOST team who are on the ground, building the trusting relationships with the people that may be hesitant to find the shelter that we have available to them.
Right.
And so it's important for us as a community to find a way to allow them to access that, or have them trusted and access it, so they can have a bed at Christmas time or any time when they need it, when it's cold out, because that's the most dangerous time for them to be out there. That's my opinion.
I agree. Tim Hedden says, "Why is Graydon on the wrong side of my screen?" I think he means, "Why are you facing him?" But I'm not certain.
I don't know. But I can flip that around. Like I can hop over. Tim, is this better?
Okay, now we're going to fix. Okay.
And Melanie,
I need a rest because that was really quick and took a little effort. Okay, so Tim, good to see you on tonight too.
Always good seeing Tim.
Because Tim likes to make fun of us.
And Melanie Arvelin King says, I'm happy to hear all of the positive things happening in this community. And absolutely, it's easy to talk about the negative stuff. It's easy to go on that side and get mad and like say things and rip people apart. But the reality is, like, if you're building a community, you have to build relationships, and you have to find a way to work with everybody and make it all a better experience. And sometimes, when you're focused on the negative, you lose all the amazing positive things, which is why, as a part of this show, we try and stay positive, even if there are things that are getting us down.
We could look. We can't. We're not going to call this perfection. I'm not going to sit on Mayor's update and say we're all done. St. Thomas is now perfect. We're not going to get there, right? But let's make it better today than it was last week, and make it better last week than it was the week before. And let's smile and say, here's where we are moving forward, and it's the right things to do. Perfection gets in the way of the good too many times, and we're doing a lot of good in our community right now. And I don't mean me or council, or it's collectively. We, the city of St. Thomas, are doing some good things to move forward. We are significantly further ahead than we were 4 years ago.
And just to jump back to what we were talking about before in terms of the shelter, someone's like, don't go to the shelter or whatever. Like, well, what's the alternative? Like sleeping out on the streets?
Well, just because you're like, well, in some people's mind, including some groups in our community, that's better. It's not better to me, right?
No,
it's better because it's even if it's tough to be there tonight, it's the place to navigate from. That shelter is where you will then go to a supportive apartment like Indwell has at the Transit Building, or the new building being built on Queen Street, or the next project, or the Tiny Hope project. That's where we'll go from. We have to move in, as Margaret McKnight says, thank you for giving me the words, baby steps. Today we stepped forward. Yeah. The more we step forward, some more. And the next day and you're about to be dealing with that at home.
100%.
When babies become portable, you have a lot more work to do. Yes.
I had her on the show tonight, but I think she's heading down. So I left it to Jess. I was like, Jess, if she can, let's bring it like Liliana on the show. But
this is a time you could be having a nap, and you couldn't because you're on with the mayor.
I had a nap before I did the mayor's update because I was like, you know what, I need a nap. But
I think we've given the Christmas spirit of St. Thomas. We've talked about all the things we could do, and all the things that might happen if we had the time, effort, and community involvement. But you're right. It sometimes gets just a little downgraded when you're reading people telling you that want to suggest how bad their community is. The community they live in, how bad it is. Well, put your boots on and head on out and help us. That's another thing you can do instead of the keyboard warriors telling us what we might have done if their brain was working. Right?
Totally. And we don't need to start like 5 different groups all doing the same thing, but just a little bit differently.
Right.
This is another thing that gets me. It's like people get passionate, they run off, they create like 5 different groups, and then you have bureaucracy. So you're paying for the bureaucracy of running all those groups instead of just focusing on the people that you should be working to help.
Yeah, and I get that a lot, and I'll tell you, I give them exactly the advice you just said. Well, I put a group together and we want to go out and feed people. I said, well, there's already 5 groups that do a great job of that. Why don't you join one of them, and that will be way better. There'll be even, and then join 2 of those together. We don't need a new one. What we need is a better one, and a fully cooperative one. And let's see what we can do. Right. Yeah, well, Timothy calls it silos. Exactly right. And I believe we have attacked that a lot. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie.
I just want to share, but I don't want to interrupt the mayor.
Okay, well, that's a good plan. And then we fight over the as Tim said, the same pile. That oh no, wait, we feed people better, or we provide shelters better, and how about we just all do it good? Right, and as I said, when we get real good, we'll try to do it very good, and keep moving up. So, what are you sharing, Stephanie?
Well,
you have your lantern.
And my lantern.
Ooh, love it.
Well, I'm not as Christmassy, but he has me to thank. So
yeah, this shirt didn't come with me. Someone else brought it for me. So,
well, if you were watching last week, Stephanie, you were pretty Christmassy.
Oh yeah, she was the queen of Christmas.
That went viral on TikTok, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be as short and sweet, but I probably am not going to be good at that because I never am. Joe has really been kind to let me share. Everyone wants to help, and that's so awesome. But one time, I struggled for 15 years financially and faked it very well. I know how to work my Shoppers Optimum points, my Canadian Tire. I call it double dipping, and all that sort of stuff to make it so that we could get by and the kids not know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something interesting happens is people think just because you have help that someone who's not properly yet treated for whatever reason doesn't mean they are well enough to even accept or know what that help is.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my children have seen me all through the years give food that I couldn't afford to give, but I just saw someone pushing a cart. And something that might be a really neat lesson is it isn't about who's doing it better. These are individual humans with names and lives, and a couple of humbling things. I couldn't afford to give the last strawberries I had, but I gave it to a man pushing a cart. And here's the lesson. He would not take them unless I took his newspaper. You see, they have pride too, right? And another time we were staying at the Sheridan in Toronto, and we went to the keg, and that's a big deal. Joe calls me Ellie Mae because I get excited over like fancy napkins and stuff and lotion and not Kleenex. Like that's big deal, So Joe's now used to me saying, what do you got in your wallet? And there was a very frail, tall man laying down in the cove on the ground in front of the keg. And this was another humbling experience. I gave him the money and I said, God loves you and so do we. And he took my hand. I said, I'll pray for you. And then he looked me square in the eyes. He said, and I will pray for you. So I just want to leave that I think the individual gets lost, and I'm not going to get into it because it's not my job. He's the politician. But that we can think, oh, that's not good, that's bad, that's sad, whatever. That, at the end of the day, people get to choose their life. And until they're treated, and we find a way for that to happen, so that say someone's name is Don starts to become Don who he actually is, not sick Don. There's a lot Joe's doing and everyone's doing, but keep in mind, at the end of the day, Stephanie with bipolar, I can choose or speak for myself, and I have dignity as well. So I just want to say that, there's a little light in here that flickers, and it takes all of us, but please, in 2022, if you can do anything, go to the Mental Health Association and get educated, get your mental health first aid, and learn what it's like when I'm not treated, why I don't want your help. I'm not well enough. So I know it may be heavy, but I love you all. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Stephanie. As you can see, I have a lot of guidance and a lot of my knowledge right at home, because Stephanie keeps me posted on what I am saying right and wrong. And with her bipolar, some days are fantastic and some days aren't, but we learn that's what our community is too. So,
absolutely.
and she's become a regular guest on Mayor's Update. We're going to have to lock certain doors in the house. Okay.
I love it. I love the fact that she shared that with everybody, because I think it's hard for people who haven't experienced it to understand it, right? And the same goes for me. I need to learn from people. Like, I have my own things, but then I need to learn from people who have their own things, and then as a community, we can understand each other better by talking about it.
Well, we talk a lot about lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's lived experience from a mental health point of view or lived experience from a business person's point of view, we have a lot of great entrepreneurs in our community, but that's their lived experience. They if you don't make profit, I can't give some of it away, right? And then we have lived experience among politicians. My lived experience is maybe how to reach out to other levels of government and ask them for what St. Thomas needs. Now, it's a certainly different lived experience than yours, but that doesn't mean let's not all use what we have, the great compassionate abilities we do have. And I'll tell you, Stephanie has certainly taught me the compassion that most politicians don't have, because I now understand what mental health is like, and I recognize my own mental health problems because I'm forced to face them. And so, perfect. Not perfect, just doing good.
No, that's 100%. And like Robert Furneaux was saying, we're also at our best when we work in partnership, and we work in partnership with everybody in our community, and we'll have the best community that we can.
Right. Or go find the expert.
Yeah.
I mean, we know who knows the answers to these things, and we've recently joined up with Indwell on a lot of projects, and what an expert to have on our side. Hey, what did you do when you ran into this before? Well, we did this, and this. Oh, well, that saves us a pile of time having to go fix it. Right. So,
right.
Well, Graydon, thank you for Mayor's Update, the last Mayor's Update of the year. We're not going to be doing one next week. Is that correct? Or are we?
That's correct. We're taking a break.
We're taking the Christmas to New Year's week off of Mayor's Update. So this is our last one. So first of all, thank you for a really productive year. Thank you for Mayor's Update and Graydon's help with it, and all of our sponsors. We probably should read them all, because without them, we can't get this information out to you. There is not much other way in St. Thomas to share what the city is attempting to do and what local groups are trying to do and what fundraisers coming up next week. So Merry Christmas to all of you, right? And God bless St. Thomas and look over us. We need your help, and we'll continue to do the good things we can do with all of your help. So we're flashing sponsors.
Yep. So we've got the Hush Hair Boutique and Streamliners Espresso Bar. If you haven't gone and got the drinks there, they have Christmas drinks. The Christmas blend from Las Chicas, because Maria is also a partner with her sister Val. Las Chicas, it is phenomenal. I'm drinking that every morning. And it's so good. Reading Designs Inc. They built our website. They helped guide us through the whole process. They're absolutely fantastic. And Shebaz, they've got Christmas specials on that are just so good. I can't, every meal I have there is phenomenal. And there's
2021 new Christmas stuff. Right?
So it's so healthy too. It's like you get your vegetables. You get your meat.
I would have a shawarma or other meals like that at Christmas in Canada. Sorry, I'm old. Growing up, that wasn't available. Now it is, and it's such a great thing to share with all of you. And those of you on the line tonight watching, a million other backgrounds and reasons why your Canada is different than my Canada, but that didn't make it worse. It made it better. All right. So we do a lot of that. And we have 519 Roofing on earlier, right? So
they were on there.
Yeah. So thank you for on behalf of the businesses of St. Thomas. Thank you for your support and helping us through the last couple of years too. To the workers that make your city a better place, whether it's parks or plowing roads and stuff. Thank you to the citizens for helping us do that well, and to all of you, thank you for making St. Thomas a little bit better, and very proud. Thank you.
100%. And then we've got some Merry Christmases coming in from all of our viewers too.
Yeah, please.
So Merry Christmas. Guys, have an awesome holiday from Sharon Montgomery Anderson, Wendy Tippin, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you both and your families. Melanie Arvelin King, Merry Christmas to you too and your families. Robert Furneaux, let's all remain St. Thomas proud, 100%. Boots the Albino Jelly Roll talking is Randy Scherf. So I don't know who Randy is.
I'm your mayor, and thank you for being kind and tuning in tonight.
And Margaret McKnight, a longtime viewer, Merry Christmas. And Margaret, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks for all your wishes. Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays and Christmas greetings to you and your family. Oh my goodness. Well, Randy, you know what? You are a sour person. You know, you can't win everybody's heart, and that's all right.
That's okay. He's one who's likely lonely.
Oh, Amanda, thanks for all you do. Great, and Mayor Joe. Thank you, Amanda. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for your community engagement. Donna McLeod, Stephanie really makes sense. I'm glad she's included. It makes us think. Merry Christmas to you. You guys are doing great work. Well, Donna, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Graydon, and give a hug to your whole family for me too, and have a joyous and restful Christmas.
Absolutely. Cheers and Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Bye.